The emergency meeting at the Pentagon following what the press had dubbed the jellyfish incident was tense enough to slice with a knife. Ambassador Xil'Torex floated in his environmental suit at one end of the table, tentacles twitching in what humans now recognized as extreme agitation. General Blackwood sat stone-faced at the other end, flanked by Major Harmon and a team of scientists who had been working on the Valthri technology for the past 3 years. This unfortunate misunderstanding, Xil'Torex began, was not a misunderstanding, General Blackwood interrupted. You were perfectly clear about how you view our species and our governments. Cultural differences? Save it, Major Harmon said, sliding a tablet across the table. We're not here to discuss your diplomatic faux pas. We're here to renegotiate our arrangement. The ambassador's environmental suit shifted to a deep blue, the Valthri equivalent of a frown. There is nothing to renegotiate. The Valthri High Council has authorized me to offer certain technologies in exchange for biological data. That arrangement stands, despite this public relations complication. General Blackwood nodded to Major Harmon, who tapped her tablet. The lights in the room dimmed, and a holographic display appeared above the conference table, a display using technology the Valthri had specifically not shared with humans. That's interesting, Harmon said, watching Xil'Torex's suit cycle through colors of shock. We weren't supposed to be able to do that, were we? The hologram showed detailed schematics of Valthri FTL drives, medical technology, and weapon systems that the aliens had kept hidden from their human partners. How did you, Xil'Torex began. Reverse engineering is something of a human specialty, General Blackwood said. But that's not the impressive part. Another tap on Harmon's tablet, and the schematics change, showing modified versions of the Valthri technology, with human improvements. The FTL drive was 30% more efficient. The medical systems showed capabilities the Valthri hadn't even considered. The weapons? Well, the weapons were concerning even to the humans in the room. You've been studying us, Harmon said, cataloging our biological adaptability. We've been studying you too, specifically how your technology works and how it could work better. Xil'Torex's tentacles went completely still, the Valthri equivalent of stunned silence. Here's the situation, General Blackwood continued. Your little speech at the UN has forced our hand. We were content to let you believe you were the advanced species guiding the primitives, but that charade is over. The public knows about you now, and they're not happy. The Valthri High Council will not respond well to threats, Xil'Torex said, his translation device unable to hide the tremor in his communication. This isn't a threat, Harmon replied. It's a business proposal. We're offering you a genuine partnership, not the condescending arrangement you thought you had. She tapped her tablet again, and a new set of schematics appeared. A hybrid environmental suit that would allow Valthri to survive in Earth environments without their bulky protection systems. We've solved problems you've been working on for centuries, she said. While you were busy underestimating us, we were figuring out how to help your species overcome its greatest limitation. Impossible, Xil'Torex whispered. Our physiologists have tried for generations. Your physiologists never had access to human immunological research, one of the scientists interjected. You were so focused on harvesting our genetic material that you missed the bigger picture of how our immune systems actually function. General Blackwood leaned forward. Here's the deal, Ambassador. We go public with a revised story, one where our species are equal partners rather than teacher and student. You get access to our biological research, but through proper channels with full transparency and ethical oversight. We get full access to your technological database, not just the scraps you've been feeding us. And if the Valthri High Council refuses, Major Harmon smiled thinly, then we go public with what we've already developed independently. The environmental suit alone would revolutionize your society overnight. Imagine Valthri being able to visit other worlds without fear of contamination. Your people would demand to know why their leadership kept such possibilities from them. It was a masterful move, not a military threat, but something far more devastating to the Valthri. The threat of social upheaval. A species that had evolved in a controlled environment valued stability above all else. I will convey your proposal to the High Council, Xil'Torex said finally. You do that, General Blackwood replied. You have 48 hours. The transmission from Valthri Prime arrived 36 hours later. The Valthri High Council had convened an emergency session to discuss the human ultimatum. What followed was the fastest policy reversal in their 5,000-year recorded history. The Valthri homeworld was in turmoil. News that humans had not only understood their advanced technology, but improved upon it, had shattered centuries of species superiority complex. More shocking was the revelation about the environmental suit. Valthri scientists, reviewing the human designs, confirmed they were theoretically sound. If functional, such technology would transform Valthri society, allowing them to expand beyond their carefully controlled habitats for the first time in their evolutionary history. The High Council had little choice. They accepted the human terms. What followed was a genuine technological and cultural exchange that benefited both species in ways neither had anticipated. Human immune system research, combined with Valthri medical technology, produced breakthroughs that extended lifespans for both species. Valthri FTL theory, enhanced by human practical engineering, led to drives that could cross the galaxy in weeks rather than months. The most profound change, however, was in how the Valthri viewed humans. Their initial assessment of useful primitives had given way to a complex mixture of respect, wariness, and fascination. Humans didn't think like Valthri. They made intuitive leaps, took shortcuts, and sometimes arrived at brilliant solutions through methods that seemed chaotic to the methodical alien minds. Your species doesn't follow logical progression, a Valthri scientist named Zex Valen told Major Harmon during a joint research session. You skip steps, combine unrelated concepts, and somehow arrive at functional results. It's simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating to witness. Harmon had laughed. We call it creativity. Sometimes the scenic route gets you there faster than the highway. The first prototype of the human-designed environmental suit was tested 6 months after the renegotiation. A young Valthri scientist named Kelmarav volunteered to be the test subject. The suit was nothing like the bulky contraptions the Valthri had used before. It was a thin, almost invisible second skin that regulated temperature, filtered air, and contained nanobots that neutralized potential pathogens before they could affect the Valthri physiology. When Kelmarav stepped outside the controlled environment chamber and took his first unfiltered breath of Earth air, modified by the suit but still far more direct than any Valthri had experienced on an alien world, the video of the moment became the most watched clip in Valthri history. It smells complex, were his first words, tentacles waving in wonder. Within a year, Valthri were serving alongside humans in joint research facilities without their traditional environmental suits. Within 2 years, the first Valthri tourists were visiting Earth's natural wonders, protected by the new technology, but able to experience alien environments in ways their species never had before. The power dynamic had shifted completely. The new joint ventures were led primarily by humans, with Valthri serving as specialized consultants rather than condescending overseers. Major Harmon, promoted to colonel for her handling of the crisis, became the head of the Interspecies Cooperation Division, a new branch of military and scientific collaboration. The irony, Colonel Harmon remarked during a briefing with General Blackwood, is that they're getting everything they originally wanted. We're sharing our biological adaptability with them, just not as lab specimens. And we're getting their technology, all of it, not just the simplified versions they thought we could handle, Blackwood replied. Funny how things work out when you treat your partners with respect. The Valthri Ambassador Xil'Torex had been recalled to Valthri Prime after the incident, replaced by a younger diplomat named Varan, who approached humans with cautious respect rather than condescension. During her first meeting with Colonel Harmon, she had asked a question that revealed how profoundly the Valthri perspective had changed. What I cannot understand, Varan said, her tentacles forming the pattern that indicated genuine curiosity, is why your species didn't simply take what you wanted from the beginning. You clearly had the capability to reverse engineer our technology. Why maintain the charade of technological inferiority for 3 years? Harmon had smiled. Because that's not how partnerships work. We were hoping you'd figure that out on your own. 5 years after first contact, a joint human Valthri expedition departed Earth orbit, bound for a star system 30 light-years distant that both species had interest in exploring. The ship, named Mutual Ascent, featured a human captain and a Valthri first officer. Its crew was evenly split between the two species, working together with the efficiency that would have seemed impossible during those early, condescending first meetings. As the ship activated its FTL drive, a human-improved version of Valthri technology, Captain Miguel Reyes sent a final message back to Earth. Turns out the universe isn't divided into teachers and students after all, just different species with different strengths, figuring things out together. Though some of us, he added with a glance at his Valthri first officer, take a bit longer to learn that particular lesson. The Valthri High Council, watching the transmission from their chambers on Valthria Prime, had the good grace to acknowledge the truth of the statement. They had made a critical error in their assessment of humanity, one that had ultimately benefited both species, but only after nearly derailing the relationship entirely. In the official Valthri historical records, the incident was recorded with a rare admission. In our first encounter with humans, we mistook technological advancement for evolutionary superiority, perhaps the most dangerous misconception any spacefaring species can make. The humans, to their credit, corrected our error with remarkable restraint. The human historical record was somewhat less formal. Turns out even super advanced space jellyfish can learn not to judge a book by its cover, especially when the book can reverse engineer their fancy toys and make them better. Some lessons, it seems, are universal, even if it takes a diplomatic crisis and the threat of technological one-upmanship to learn them.